Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this December 12th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon here on the EOA network. How are you, man?
Good morning. Second Monday.
Feels like a Monday
I
to
thought
me.
it was Thursday when I got here.
Did you? I know, when I was just looking up the weather and it came up from last Thursday, I'm thinking, what day is it?
I walked in next door and I was like, hey, at least it's your Friday today, Terry. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, it's Thursday, it's your Friday. And he's like, today's not Thursday.
Today's not Thursday?
Oh. Well, I don't want time to go faster. It's going too fast as it is.
Yeah, 13 days before
13
Christmas.
more days until Christmas.
Yeah.
And then so that means that a week after that is New Year's Day, so 20 days left in the year. Well, less than 20 days.
Yeah.
19 days left in the year after today.
Yeah. It seems like I'm just getting used to writing 2023.
Yeah, and now it's going to change again already.
Yeah. Yep.
Too fast. Way too fast.
It just kind of zips by, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's going to be 2024.
Yeah. What are you doing for Christmas?
Just hanging out here with the kids.
Kids are coming. We're gonna go see Michaela in
Vancouver or Portland or
Vancouver area.
Do they live in Washington or Oregon?
They live in Washington now. Liberty, no, it's not Liberty. Ridge.
Well, if you live in, it's kind of smart to live in Washington though, because you can, especially close to Oregon, because then you dodge the state income tax, and then you can come over here and shop and not have to pay the
Ridgeview, is that what it is? I can't remember. Anyhow, so just above Vancouver, there kind of is a little bit of elevation, and they're kind of up there in the hills.
I don't know that area very well.
Yeah.
I just know that some of the Blazers live in Vancouver, so they don't have to pay.
No, it's there is some tax advantages.
Well, if you live close enough to Oregon, so you had to shop in Vancouver, it wouldn't be any advantage really at all, because you're paying 7%, whatever it is on sales tax.
Yeah.
But if you can come across the bridge and do your shopping in Oregon and not pay that 7%, then you're not.
Yeah.
Then you're not. You're actually dodging.
Well, I think they kind of, they started in Portland. They were living right in the Portland urban area, and then wanted a place that had a little bit of land and a little bit less city, because there's a lot of people that are in that same situation for whatever reason. And so that's kind of where I think land is available.
In Vancouver?
Yeah. It's just a little more expansive. But one thing I kind of, and I don't know, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about how the Oregon land use laws are real restrictive. We've kind of known that, but compared to other states. So when you drive from Boise to Ontario, that area has just exploded in growth,
Yeah.
And so then all of that farmland has just kind of been turned into housing developments and so on and so forth. That kind of thing is much more difficult to do in Oregon, because the state has laws where if you're going to have a city, that's where you're going to have housing and housing development and so on and so forth. So that is why you don't see that urban sprawl as much.
Yeah, that's probably why LeGrand hasn't grown since 1950.
Well, there's development available.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we still haven't grown.
No, I know, but yeah. So
Isn't that crazy? Our population's the same almost as it was 73 years ago.
well, and that is bad in some way, but at least it's maintained. There's a lot of towns that have just declined,
Yeah.
So, there still is a need to find family wage jobs, and but
Well, yeah, there's always been that, though, with just the railroad alone.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's always been consistent. And the university.
Yeah.
Those two are the, solid, consistent. Then the hospital, So there's I don't think we would ever, drop in population. I think we would just like we have. Just stay
stayed the
right
same.
around the same. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, we probably have gone up in the last couple of years since COVID.
Well, and there is, I mean, what I do see is there are younger families that are moving here because they're able to work remote.
Yeah, that's because of COVID.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy how many people can work from their house now. Like, and they could have done it before, but there's just not enough accountability. You know what I mean? Like, if I had a business, I don't want my people working from home every day. Like, I want to see them every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be.
Yeah.
Because you never know, you might have, but here's the good thing about working from home. If you're really efficient at your job, you can cut your time down to, you know what I mean? Like, and not have to work as much for the same amount of money, which I think is the right thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? If me and you are doing the same job and I do it twice as fast as you, you better be paying me twice as much or letting me work half as much for the same amount of money.
Well, and I think the way the remote jobs are working is they're more job-based rather than by the hour.
Piece rate. It's called piece rate.
Right. So like Brady, my son, he's a software developer. And I mean, he just has a list of things that he has to get done during the week. And, you know.
Doesn't matter how long it takes you.
Yeah. So as long as he's accomplishing the task that he needs to do in a given week, then but I mean, for a business like ours, the remote work wouldn't work. You know, part of it is because the team effort is so important. Yeah.
Well, there's some things that I can do at home, but there's some things that you just can't.
Yeah.
I tried to do one. When I had COVID, I did one show at home.
Yeah.
It didn't work very well.
Well, and
I mean, it did, but I didn't like it.
I mean, if I was super organized and could break down everybody's job, and you know, I mean, that's just not our organization. That's not me. But so yeah, I'm kind of more of a, we all get in the same room and like, oh yeah, that's right, we got to do that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Hey, you want to do sports?
Let's do some sports.
All right.
And sports report brought to you by Rockin' Sons Tire and Auto. It's that time of year. It's winter. Snow tires they got them, man. Go check out their snow tire selection. You can get on their website or go give them a visit. Go see JV and the boys, Rockin' Sun Tire and Auto. Let's talk about LHS boys wrestling first. They took second in the Milenburg this last weekend, which is the fabled LeGrand tournament. It happens every year. Bragan Anderson won a championship at 106. Mason Wolcott won a championship at 132. Tommy Belding won the championship at 144. And Ridge Kerr won the championship at 175. There's a name that should be in there that we didn't hear because he's injured right now, and that's Kai Carson. He's a multiple-time Milenburg champion, and he didn't get to wrestle in the Milenburg this year. He's a multiple-time state champion as well. He missed the Milenburg this year because of an injury, so hopefully he gets back to the mat soon. The girls, they had their Milenburg. It's the Safeway Buckle Classic up at EOU at the same time. They won that in a landslide. They almost doubled up the second-place team. They had three individual champs. Carly Radke at 105, Florecita Villa-Gomez at 115, and Malia Azure at 130, who is Dustin Azure's nephew, the coach niece, the coach at EOU. They don't have anything on their schedule until all the way in February, but I can't imagine that they're not wrestling between now and February. I would imagine there's something going on that just hasn't been put on the schedule yet. The boys don't wrestle again until January 6th, and that's at Raleigh Lane in Napa. So they got a break for Christmas. I mean, this is normal this time of year. Wrestling Wednesdays is going to be back tomorrow. We're gonna film it tonight, and it'll be back tomorrow at 5:30 on the sports show. I'll sit down with Clell Carson from LeGrand Boys Wrestling and Dustin Azure from EOU Men's Wrestling, and we'll just talk wrestling. it'll be good. I mean, we've done it every year. We've done at least a couple episodes for the last 3 years. So it'll be interesting. You'll get all the information you need to know from those coaches about what's going on with wrestling in LeGrand and at EOU. LHS girls basketball is on a 6-game winning streak. They beat Estacada 71-9 on Friday. 71-9? Come on, put the brakes on. Really? You shouldn't be beating teams that bad. I mean, it's not, especially a team that's in your same division. Like, they're not in our league, but they're a 4A team, Estacada. I don't know what you can do in that situation, but 71-9 isn't good for either team.
Right.
It really isn't. I'm not a fan. I wasn't there, so I can't say, you know what I mean? I don't know what happened, but in basketball, you should never beat a team that bad. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I guess, I mean, if they're not playing any defense at all, like I said, I wasn't there, so I can't really say anything. They beat Malala 70-30 on Saturday, and then went on the road and beat the Dowls last night 54-25. They travel. They go to Vail for a non-league contest this Friday at 6:30 Mountain Time. The boys basketball team up at the high school lost to Estacada on Friday night at home, but picked up their first win of the season in Baker versus Malala. So they finally got a dub. They're on the board. They won 50-47. They play Fruitland at home on this Thursday, 7 p.m., the 14th. EOU men's and women's basketball both lost on the road at C of I on Saturday. Tough loss for both teams. The women lost by just, I think, 3. I think it was 69-66 is what I want to say, but the men got blown out. They got beat by 30, 75-45. Bailey Brennan had a heck of a game for the women's team. She hit 7 threes, which is close to a program record. Not quite, but 7 threes in a game is a huge game anytime. I kind of feel like both those teams have work to do. The women's team is on a 3-game conference losing streak to open the season. They were picked to win the conference. Angie's teams don't lose 3 games in a row like this. It's not normal. So they're just going to have to find the pieces. They're going to get Miley Mills from the volleyball team, though. She started working out with them, and she's going to play basketball too. So,
oh, wow.
And I asked Angie, if she's good at basketball, she is volleyball. She's like, I don't think so, but who knows? She's an athlete. You know what I mean? So she's gonna make a difference on that team, and she's tall too. They need some size on that team. They both teams travel to Portland this weekend for Multnomah Warner Pack. So it's the Portland weekend this weekend, the 15th and the 16th. And then the men's team turn around and fly to Florida for Christmas break for a couple games down in Florida. Every team at EOU pretty much gets one trip. You know what I mean? Like one big trip. The women's basketball team went to Hawaii. Volleyball went to Hawaii. The men are going to Florida.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool. That's a good time of year to go to Florida, other than you miss Christmas with your family. But when you're that age, Christmas in Florida with your boys, I mean, I wouldn't really complain about it. You know what I mean? And then finally for sports, EOU volleyball, Sade Williams, 3rd-team All-American. It was announced yesterday. I think she kind of got robbed. I think she should have been at least 2nd team. We didn't have anybody else on the list either as All-Americans. On the number 3 team in the country that lost, 2 games all season. And we only have 1 All-American. In my eyes, I was kind of butthurt about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like the Midwest NAIA teams give us the respect, even though we're right there with them. You know what I mean? You had teams like Indiana Wesleyan that had 2 first-teamers. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. We did have 1 first-team All-American girl from our conference, Corbin's Riley Troutman, who was first-team All-American last year and Player of the Year last year. She returned as a first-team All-American this year, but I just kind of feel like when it comes to those national awards, EOU doesn't get the respect it deserves. But at the same time, EOU volleyball is so well balanced. There's so many good players that it's kind of shared. So the numbers aren't as high for some girls. But Sade, she's one of those kind of girls that is irreplaceable because she's so versatile. She plays both rows. She plays the front and the back. She's a great on-the-net defender, but she's also a great off-the-net defender. And she's one of the few. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of girls at the NAIA level that play both levels, so front and back. And there's games where she led the team in kills and digs, and that's rare. You know what I mean? So congratulations to her. I don't want to take anything away from her by saying that she didn't get what she deserved, but at the same time, she didn't get what she deserved.
Yeah.
Morning Sports Report brought to you by Rockin' Sons Tire and Auto, East End of Adams and LeGrand. Go see JB and the boys.
Yeah. I remember I wrestled in in high school, and I remember, you'd start working out in the fall. You'd have a little bit of a match, before Christmas, but all during Christmas vacation, you'd have practices.
Oh yeah.
It was so miserable.
Yeah.
Because it was like, everybody else is off doing stuff, and you're
That's
sweating
part
it out.
of being a wrestler. And
Yeah.
you can't eat if you're trying to cut weight. My son's wrestled. I want to say he's wrestled 2 tournaments and 2 duels already this year.
Yeah.
And so he's already wrestled 15 matches, 13 matches or something. And then Christmas break, they practice every day because they got a lot of guys that are trying to maintain a weight or cut weight. And so it's like, oh, you're going to go eat all this food nah, you're going to practice. You're going to run. You're going to, you know what I mean? And it's part of being a wrestler. You give up there's certain things you got to give up, and that's one of them. I know Kyron, this year he's going to stay at heavyweight. So he don't have a worry in the world about weight. So he gets to eat whatever he wants. He needs to actually gain a little bit of weight probably because he's wrestling kids that outweigh him by 40 pounds right now. And it's like, okay, like you got a dude that's 265 laying on you and you weigh 225. There's a big difference.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Tough.
Yeah. All righty. Well, let's take a look outside, Benny. And I don't know what that is. Dismal.
That? Crappy.
Yeah, crappy.
Not fun.
It snowed and then went away. Or is on his way. Yeah, on Sunday, man, it was just, it dumped in the morning.
Yeah.
And then by midday, it was sloppy and wet and,
We're lucky it didn't freeze really
Yeah.
good. Well, that would have been miserable.
Yeah, so let's look at the weather next couple of days and see what we got. So 38's the high today, then tomorrow 40, 40, 42. It kind of looks like it's the same kind of weather. Doesn't look like we're supposed to get much precipitation, but pretty much the same degrees, partly cloudy, maybe a little bit of sun tomorrow. Just kind of, we're kind of in this funky stuff for a while.
Yeah, fun. Yeah.
But that means on the passes it's cold,
Snowing.
freezy, snowing. Yeah.
That's this time of year though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's normal.
You said there was an accident yesterday.
I
There
just
was it
read
closed
that,
for a while? Yeah.
Westbound was
I'm
closed.
trying to think. Yeah, mid-afternoon, I drove under the freeway, and I think they were just getting ready to close one of the on-ramps or something.
Probably, yeah, because I think it said like 4:30 or something like
Yeah.
that it had been closed because of an accident and dense fog.
Yeah. Well, it just doesn't take much.
Oh, I've driven over that hill where you can't see like 15 feet in front of you.
I know, it's crazy.
Terrible, man. Sometimes that fog, especially coming down, you know what I mean? Oh.
Yeah, and I wonder why that is. I mean, it's just the nature of that hill and the way that it is. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you just drop over, and all of a sudden it's like you just dropped into soup.
Yeah.
You know.
Fog's miserable.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get out there by Somerville in that area too, and it's just fogged up. That whole area.
Well, and I've come back towards LeGrand at night a lot, and you run into that.
Yeah, coming down the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And man, you just it's hard to navigate. You're constantly torn about, am I driving too fast? Am I driving too slow?
And then if it's slick too on top of that.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
And then when it's cold and it's foggy, you got freezing fog. You know what I mean? So it's like you never know when, if you're going over an overpass or something and it's slicker than everywhere else. Or it's not fun. It's not fun.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
this time of the year is just kind of what it is. Somebody was asking.
The body shops do really well this time of year.
Yeah, and it's somebody was asking me who was new to town, the difference between driving to Baker every day or driving to Pendleton every day, and there's people who commute both directions.
Yeah. If I had to say a difference, I would say not too much. I mean, Cabbage is a little rougher, but I wouldn't want to drive either of them every day.
No,
honestly.
But I think that it's less distance. I mean, the amount of time that you're at a high elevation is less going to Baker.
Yeah, but going to Baker, there's a lot more freezing rain and freezing black ice. Than there is going that way. Yeah. Most of the time when it's slick going that way, you can see it. You know what I mean? It's snow or ice. Yeah. Going east though, a lot of times you can't see it.
I'm amazed at the number of people that commute, that live. I mean, they live in Baker and they commute over.
To LeGrand?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
There's several of them, and it's just kind of a. Yeah, I don't. That would. Have
Baker's
you ever had
probably cheaper than LeGrand.
Well, and part of it is just housing related. Housing is so.
There's nowhere to live around here.
Yeah. It's a real challenge for people to find suitable housing.
We drove by those colorful apartments, those new ones.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those that are empty. That haven't even got people in them yet.
I don't know that they're totally. Are they through?
I don't know. There's people living in some of them.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of them that are just open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know that they're finished with construction yet. No. I think they should be getting pretty close.
Are those the low income? Like, what are those?
So it's mixed. So there's some low income housing and some just housing.
I thought that was based on zoning.
As
low
far as
income
whether
and non-low income. You can just mix them. You can make some of them low
I don't
income.
know. I don't know what the procedure is, but I think that. Yeah.
I know in big cities they don't mix them. If you live in the projects, it's low income.
Yeah.
Like you don't have low income and then regular income people living in the same project.
Well, I know that some of it is determined not by the actual individual. So in other words, the entire housing complex is just what it is. It's not like that's low income and this is regular. It's just it's available to everyone, and then some people can apply for Section 8 housing.
Oh, okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think I understand.
But and so then the government subsidizes your rent depending on your income.
So the owner of the apartments is still getting paid the same.
It's exactly
the government's just helping you.
It's exactly right. Yeah, there was a time when I lived in low income housing, and when I was young, and I remember having to remind the landlord of that is like, dude, you're getting market value for what it is that you're doing. So don't pretend like you're doing me a favor. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I lived in low income housing my whole life until we moved here.
Yeah.
I mean, all over San Diego and the surrounding areas. We moved a lot.
So I have a question for you. This is something I've been thinking about. So I grew up poor. I mean, I grew up challenged, and I don't know if anyhow. So we didn't have a lot of stuff, and so then I've been thinking about how that's affected me as an adult, So because and then there's a question here in this asking if you feel this way too. So it's like, so I didn't have. I mean, I would have loved to have had a motorcycle or some of the common toys that other people had that I didn't have.
Yeah.
And so now as an adult, sometimes there's this like, I still want a motorcycle. I still want some of those things that I didn't have as a kid. You ever feel that way?
Yeah. Yes and no. Not motorcycles.
Or maybe, is there anything growing up poor or growing up in a challenge?
Food. Certain kinds of foods, that I didn't get to have when I was a kid unless I was at Grandma and Grandpa's.
Yeah.
But then the other the bad part about growing up poor for me is I never learned how to manage money either. So like I've never been good with money.
So as soon as you got it,
I'm
it was just
terrible.
gone.
Yeah, I'm terrible still. Like I try so hard sometimes, and I'm just like I'm not good at it because it wasn't a practice that was practiced in. You know what I mean?
Right,
In my house, especially as a kid. Like as soon as I got money, we were trying to flip it or spend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my brother and I were always hustling, trying to find ways to get more money because we didn't have any. You know what I mean? Like so. But when it comes to like food, there's certain foods that I won't even eat because we had them so much when I was young.
Like what?
Pancakes. I won't touch a pancake. Pancakes cheap.
Right.
Hot dogs, like regular hot dogs, I won't touch them.
Nope. Yeah.
Let's see, pancakes, hot dogs, hamburger helper, won't touch it. There's a few other ones I'd have to think. Oh, government cheese, I won't touch that either. Or Velveeta. No cheese that's squishy in the block. No, nope, not touching that. Powdered milk, no, I won't even touch milk actually. But powdered milk, no, won't touch it. No. It's terrible. But pancakes is probably the biggest one. Like I will not touch a pancake. You can pay me to eat a pancake.
What about on the other side? Food that you never got that now it's like, oh, I love that, and part of it is
so one of the greatest things about going to Grandma and Grandpa's house was butter. Dude, butter was like, we never had butter when I was a kid.
Right.
We had margarine and we were lucky.
Right.
We go to Grandma's house and she's got this beautiful butter dish, which we didn't have. We had a tub. You know what I mean? And man, the very first time I had rye toast with butter and raspberry jam from Knott's Berry Farm on it.
You were like,
Wow. Done. Like sold on butter. Butter was a huge one. But my grandparents were well off. They lived in a nice community.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Like grandpa they had money.
Yeah.
So like when we got to experience some of this stuff, but we didn't get it regularly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like one of the other things when I was a kid that we didn't get a lot of, obviously steak.
Yeah.
I mean, go to grandpa's house and he'd cook a nice strip or New York steak, and oh man, it was heavenly.
Yeah, I mean, and that my experiences were similar. Although, you know, looking back, my grandparents they were pretty modest means too. But, you know, when you grow up poor, I mean, they grew up poor. I mean, they worked really hard and stuff. But still, when there's only two of them, you've got a little bit more income to spread over just the two of you. Yeah, right. You know, and so yeah, some of those things. Yeah, I mean, I never had beef. You know, I mean, you'd go to McDonald's or you'd have a hamburger or whatever, but I mean, I don't know when the first real live beef steak I ever had. I mean, we ate wild game my entire growing up life, you know.
Yeah. Here's the thing, even when we moved here, I mean, when we first moved here, my dad worked at Safeway and McDonald's. He worked 2 jobs. And we were poor. I mean, even then. And like our going out to eat was like on a Friday night, we would get like McDonald's or every once in a while or Little Caesars. And that was like a big deal. You know what I mean? And so I never, you know what I mean? Like as a kid, I never went out to eat with my family. You know what I mean? We never went to like Mamacita's or no. Now, yeah, but back then, never. Like,
no, when I was a kid, the treat, we never ate out like that. The treat is that we would stop by, like on the way home from church on Sunday morning, we'd stop by and get a gallon of root beer from A&W Root Beer. And you could get a gallon of it like in a milk jug.
Yeah, you still.
And it was only $1 or something like that. I mean, you know, and so that was the treat.
Yeah, so with Grandma and Grandpa, they'd take us out all the time, though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like we Bob's Big Boy was our spot. You know what I mean? Like it was like kind of like a Denny's kind of.
Yeah.
But like I said, like I don't even think I ever went to 10 Depot Street or Mamacita's until I was an adult here.
Yeah.
And they're not even like super expensive. We just didn't have the extra. You know what I mean? It just didn't have the means to do it.
Yeah, the first time I ever remember going out was with my grandma, and it was in Riverton, Wyoming, which is a tiny town, looking back. But they had a they had a hotel there called the Teton Hotel, and there was a nice eating area in there, and I had a turkey open face sandwich. I had no idea what that even was, just toast, slices of turkey, and
Yeah, gravy.
I still love that, and salad with Roquefort dressing, which is very similar to blue cheese. Yeah, but again, it's the first time I'd ever had any of that. It's like, really, this is.
It's funny. You know how they say the way people get rich is by being cheap, right?
Yeah.
My ex-wife, her grandparents, the very first time we went to dinner with them, we went to like Elmer's or something in like Albany. Like Elmer's is kind of like a Denny's.
Yeah.
Well, we go in there and they both order waters, and they with lemon, and they literally made their own lemonade. We're talking about millionaires.
Right.
Made their own lemonade with sugar
Right
and the
on the
lemon
spot?
from the water right on the spot. I was just like, what are you guys doing? And they're sitting there making lemonade. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a story. So when Kathy and I were first married, my first wife, we were married, and we were going to school with Kathy's sister and her husband. We were all at school at the same time, so we all go to Pizza Hut, and Kathy and I splurge and get soft drinks. The other couple gets water. Well, the waitress came, and she felt sorry for them because they were frugal, and brought them free pops. Free, so it's like,
Hey.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. You're going to charge us and you're going to give it to them for free?
Yeah, one of those funny things, Yeah, growing up, I think I kind of think about that still as far as growing up poor, because it's like, there are things that sometimes there's this insatiable hole to fill.
Yeah.
And, so I end up wanting items or even buying items sometimes that are like, it's just a little
why
bit.
did I buy that?
Why did I buy that? Yeah, well, I bought that because I wanted it as a kid, and I didn't have the
I
awareness
used to be
figure
like
out
that with
I'm
like
not a
shoes
kid
and
anymore.
hats before I got married.
Yeah.
I used to be very like, because I didn't have,
Yeah,
what I mean? I had
right.
But nowadays, like my kids, they think that everything's just handed to them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
my son, I need these shoes for wrestling. Well, you know how many times I got bought? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when I was his age, I was buying my own stuff. First off,
Right.
I had a job,
Right.
and then second off, like, I never got the best of anything. Every once in a while, my grandparents would splurge and get me some. But like my baseball glove, like I didn't have the best of the best. I didn't have the best bat. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have the best shoes.
Yeah. No, I never bought wrestling shoes. I would just get hand-me-downs.
Kyron got a pair
Yeah.
from somebody this year where he didn't have to buy them. Thank
Yeah,
God,
because it's just like it was not in the.
It's not part of the budget, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I remember when I was in junior high and I started playing, I don't know, it was some sport, and I showed up with metal cleats, and because they were secondhand, we bought them at a garage sale or something, and metal cleats were disallowed by then, and you could only, and I remember like, you can't wear those on. I mean, it seems like maybe it was football or something.
The other thing is my ex-wife, she comes from money. Like her family has a lot of money. So that was always an issue too. Like we're from totally different like economic backgrounds. You know what I mean? Like she's used and it's still sometimes an issue today with the kids. It's like, you know what I mean? Like they got to learn how to do something on their own eventually. Like we can't just feed them, off the silver spoon their whole life.
Yeah. Well, I know that, when it came to going to college, my mom and dad, there was like, you got to figure it out. If you're going to go to school, you got to figure it out.
Same.
Yeah,
There was no.
And even
There was no college fund for me. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, and even for my kids, we tried to cover half of whatever it was they were going to do, but yeah, they had to figure it out.
I'm going to try to help as much as I can with my kids,
But no, I think there's
no
something really good. The teenagers that I see today that are driving vehicles that there's no way I could
Nicer
afford.
than our cars.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I mean, they're driving $50,000 trucks.
No, I
I'm
know.
like, okay, yeah. So, and I don't,
I
parents
guess
gotta
if you got it, you got it, though.
parents
you know
gotta
what I mean?
do what they do. I mean, there's nothing more American than being able to spend your money the way that you want to spend it.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the at the heart of civilization, American civilization. That is the case. I mean, that's the case with someone who's homeless. They have the right to spend their money on pet food for their dog if that's what they want.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So it's just kind of one of those things. But everybody values different things, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I agree. I think it's really important for kids to
Figure it out.
figure out how to earn their way in some manner. There has to be
and not expect things. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
especially. I mean, yeah, expect food, a roof over your head, expect the necessities, but don't expect. You know what I mean? Like I never expected that kind of stuff because I knew it wasn't ever coming. You know, I mean, every once in a great while from grandma and grandpa, like I said. But like as a kid, like I knew I wasn't getting. And when I did get something big from, like when we first moved here, my parents bought me and Kenny a TV for the basement, and we were for Christmas, and it was the best damn Christmas present I ever got. We were so excited. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was a big TV.
Yeah.
It was a console TV, but it was big. And we were so happy. You know what I mean? Like, we had our own TV downstairs. We didn't have to share TV with mom and dad upstairs. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right,
that
yeah.
was huge.
a little bit of independence.
My kids now, my son's got 3 TVs in his room.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's not the same. You know, he's got an Xbox. I did have a Nintendo as a kid, but that was a grandma and grandpa thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, now my kids all have computers. They all have the brand new iPhones. You know what I mean? It's like nothing like, yeah.
Yeah.
Granted, that stuff's more accessible now too, but at the same time, all that stuff costs money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a totally different, but I still think that in there, so like if a kid has a gaming system, whatever it might be, that he earns money to buy the games that he wants. You know what I mean? That there's some, I don't know, there was that thing of learning the value of disposable income as a kid is like an invaluable lesson. It really is. Because if they don't figure it out when they're younger, then they're gonna like have their hand out the entire time, know. So
Yep.
well,
Yep.
you want to get us out of here? We've been John for a bit.
Let's do it. On this day, which is the 12th of December, 1787, Pennsylvania becomes the second state to ratify the Constitution. On this day in 1822, Mexico is officially recognized as an independent nation by the United States. 1936, on this day, Chinese leader Chiang Kai-shek declares war on Japan.
Wow, 36?
Yep, 1937 on this day, NBC and RCA sends the first mobile TV van onto the streets of New York. 1937. 1946 on this day, Tide laundry detergent is introduced.
Wow.
1980, on this day, Apple makes its initial public offering to the U.S. stock market. 38 years later, it would become the first U.S. company valued at over $1 trillion. That's a lot of money. $1 trillion, that's a lot of zeros.
Yeah.
How many zeros is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is a million. 7, 8, 9, 12. It's 12 zeros after. Woo. 2022, Emma Tucker is appointed editor-in-chief of the Wall Street Journal. She's the first woman ever to lead that paper.
Huh.
2022. Yep. Number 1 movie in America on this day in 1993, Wayne's World 2. And then the quote of the day, brought to you by Dale Carnegie. Remember, today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Think about that, BC.
Today is the tomorrow
You worried about
yesterday.
Dale
Right.
Carnegie.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
Oh, Cody Bowen show next Wednesday, the 20th, 5:30. We're going to have special guest, Justin Rock, Mayor Rock. will be on the Cody Bowen show. And then, like I said, tomorrow, Wrestling Wednesdays, we're going to shoot it tonight, and it'll be out on the sports show tomorrow.
And then this Thursday on the AM show, Rob Cashel, Commissioner of Cascade Collegiate Conference, he'll be with us. Next Tuesday, Paul Anders, Commissioner Paul Anders, and then next Thursday, Tim Seidel from EOU will be here with us to talk about the staircase. So
Sweet.
we got some good guests lined up.
Let's do it.
Thank you, Eastern Oregon, for being with us.
See you on Thursday.
Yep. See you soon.